Have you ever felt emotionally vulnerable in a relationship, uncertain about how to maintain your inner peace? In today's world, where relationships are increasingly dynamic and complex, it's easy to feel like emotional stability is slipping away. But Stoic philosophy, with its timeless wisdom, offers powerful tools to develop lasting resilience, essential for facing these uncertainties. In this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic strategies to help you build a strong mindset that's prepared for any emotional challenge. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches how to live a virtuous life in harmony with oneself, even amid difficulties. Founded in Greece and widely adopted by the Romans, Stoicism centers on the idea that mastering our thoughts and emotions is essential for true freedom and resilience. The great Stoic thinkers, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, dedicated themselves to understanding the human mind, demonstrating that it is our greatest strength and also our primary source of suffering, depending on how we use it. But what can this philosophy teach us about resilience in today's relationships? In a world where relationships are often unstable and fast-paced, many of us experience intense emotional highs and lows. Small conflicts and major disappointments can shake us deeply, destabilizing our inner peace and leaving us vulnerable. Stoicism's approach, then, is to teach us to control our reactions and to observe life with a calmer perspective, less dependent on external circumstances. By incorporating Stoic wisdom, we can build a solid emotional foundation, allowing our expectations and reactions to become more balanced. Through its practices, Stoicism not only strengthens us internally, but also helps us face any emotional challenge with courage and serenity. So, let's begin exploring these strategies and how to apply them to transform our relationships and our emotional lives. Strategy number 1, distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. The first Stoic principle we will cover is the importance of distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. This concept, taught by Epictetus, is one of the keys to serenity and resilience. In relationships, it's common to try to control our partner's behavior or emotions, whether in moments of conflict or to meet our expectations, but the truth is, the only things we truly have power over are our own attitudes and responses. When you focus solely on what you can control, you begin to experience profound inner peace. This means no longer spending energy trying to change what is beyond your reach, such as another person's reactions or unexpected events. Instead, you redirect that energy toward what you can do, choose how to respond, manage your own emotions, and shape your own thoughts. This Stoic practice teaches us that when we let go of the need to control others, we gain more control over ourselves, reducing anxiety and frustration. Imagine, for example, that you're in a discussion with your partner. Rather than insisting that they see things your way, you can focus on maintaining your own calm and expressing your feelings with composure. This shift in approach strengthens resilience as you no longer depend on external factors for your sense of well-being. Instead, you find stability within, making you better prepared for any situation. This strategy leads us to the next lesson, the importance of cultivating emotional self-sufficiency. Strategy number 2, cultivating emotional self-sufficiency. The second Stoic strategy for building resilience in our relationships is to cultivate emotional self-sufficiency. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we form bonds and share meaningful moments with others, our inner peace should not depend on external actions or approval. In other words, we must learn to be the main source of our own well-being. Being emotionally self-sufficient doesn't mean isolating ourselves or withholding feelings, but rather avoiding emotional dependency. When we rely excessively on another person for a sense of value or security, we end up allowing their moods and choices to affect our inner stability. Emotional self-sufficiency, therefore, is a practice that involves strengthening your sense of self-worth and satisfaction independently of what others do or think. For example, in a relationship, if you constantly expect the other person to validate your worth or fulfill all your needs, you're likely to experience a series of disappointments and insecurities. However, by working on self-control and learning to fulfill your own emotional needs, you reach a level of independence that protects you from these frustrations. Over time, this builds emotional resilience that benefits the health of the relationship by reducing pressure on your partner and avoiding crises caused by unmet expectations. This principle prepares us for the next step, accepting and valuing imperfections, both our own and those of others. Strategy number 3, practicing the acceptance of imperfections. The third Stoic strategy for strengthening resilience in relationships is practicing the acceptance of imperfections, both ours and others. For the Stoics, acceptance is not resignation, but rather a way of recognizing reality as it is. Seneca reminds us that the desire for things to be different from what they are is one of humanity's greatest sources of suffering. By consciously accepting imperfections, you avoid frustration and maintain a more serene outlook on relationships. In relationships, it's common to project our expectations onto the other person, hoping they'll align with an idealized image. However, when we realize that everyone has flaws, including ourselves, and that these imperfections are part of the human condition, we can adopt a more compassionate and tolerant attitude. Accepting that others have limitations and may not always meet our expectations allows for a lighter and healthier coexistence. Imagine, for example, that your partner has a habit that irritates you, like forgetting small commitments. Rather than fighting against this behavior or becoming frustrated every time it occurs, acceptance helps you acknowledge that this trait is part of their personality. This doesn't mean you can't discuss it, but rather that you choose not to let this characteristic become a constant source of dissatisfaction. This practice of acceptance leads us to the next Stoic strategy, developing the capacity for self-observation. Strategy number 4, developing the capacity for self-observation. The fourth Stoic strategy for building emotional resilience is developing the capacity for self-observation. For the Stoics, self-reflection is a daily practice that allows us to understand our own reactions before we act. Epictetus taught that we should observe our thoughts and feelings like a gatekeeper at the door, ensuring they are under our control before influencing our decisions. In a relationship, self-observation is essential to avoid impulsive reactions that often lead to unnecessary conflicts. When you're able to perceive your emotions at the moment they arise, you can choose how to respond instead of simply reacting. This space between feeling and action is where true resilience is born, as it gives you control over how you wish to respond to challenges. Imagine you feel irritated after an argument with your partner. Rather than letting anger control your reaction, the practice of self-observation allows you to recognize the emotion and understand its origin. Perhaps the irritation is linked to an insecurity or fear of rejection, for example. This insight helps you respond in a calmer, more thoughtful way, avoiding words or actions you might later regret. Thus, self-observation is an essential skill for creating a more stable relationship that's less susceptible to impulsive conflicts. This Stoic practice opens the door to our next strategy, avoiding the constant search for external validation, one of the greatest obstacles to true emotional self-sufficiency. Strategy number 5, avoiding the constant search for validation. The fifth Stoic strategy is avoiding the constant search for external validation. a habit that often compromises our emotional stability and weakens relationships. For the Stoics, true inner strength arises when we become our own source of security and self-confidence, independent of others' approval. When we allow our self-worth to be defined by the opinions and behaviors of others, we become vulnerable to an emotional roller coaster that, over time, wears down our sense of identity. In relationships, this need for validation can be particularly harmful. It creates high expectations and often dissatisfaction when the other person doesn't act as we'd hoped. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, reminds us not to let others' judgments disrupt our inner peace. He reinforces that our own perception and judgment are more valuable than external opinions. Consider a situation where you expect your partner to constantly reaffirm your worth or express affection in a certain way. When this expectation isn't met, you may feel insecure or frustrated. However, by practicing self-validation and avoiding the search for approval, you begin to find security within yourself. This way, your self-esteem becomes more resilient, less dependent on what others do or say. This emotional independence allows the relationship to be lighter and less pressured by demands for approval. With this foundation in place, we move on to the next Stoic strategy, valuing inner tranquility as a priority. Strategy number 6, valuing inner tranquility. The sixth Stoic strategy is valuing inner tranquility above all else, even above temporary victories in arguments or unrealistic expectations we may project onto our relationships. For the Stoics, peace of mind is a fundamental state that helps us maintain emotional stability, allowing us to respond to any challenge with calmness. Seneca said that to preserve our own tranquility, we must release the desire to control others and instead focus on cultivating calm within ourselves. In relationships, this inner peace is often sacrificed in the pursuit of fleeting desires or the need to always be right. By prioritizing tranquility, we learn to let go of minor frustrations that would otherwise lead to conflict. This means giving up the urge to control every detail and instead focusing on maintaining our own emotional stability. Peace, therefore, comes from acceptance, not from trying to shape situations to our advantage. Imagine, for example, a situation where insisting on a specific point might escalate a conflict. Valuing inner tranquility allows you to choose to let go of the argument for the sake of harmony. This doesn't mean suppressing your needs, but rather choosing to preserve both your serenity and that of the relationship, avoiding unnecessary strain. This practice of maintaining peace of mind prepares us for the next strategy, accepting change and uncertainty in relationships, an inevitable aspect that, when embraced, can further strengthen our emotional resilience. Strategy number 7, embracing change and uncertainty. The seventh Stoic strategy for building emotional resilience is to embrace change and uncertainty. The Stoics believed that life is made of cycles and that impermanence is a natural part of any human experience, including relationships. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that change is constant and that our acceptance of this fact is the path to peace. Accepting that things evolve and that our control over them is limited helps us handle the surprises and uncertainties that come with relationships. In modern relationships, change appears in many forms: a new life phase, career challenges, moving to a new city, or even evolving interests and goals. When we understand that transformation is inevitable and that we can't control every aspect of it, we become more prepared to face these transitions without letting anxiety or fear overwhelm us. For instance, imagine your partner receives a job offer in another city. Instead of fearing the situation or clinging to the idea of keeping everything the same, The Stoic approach allows you to view the change as an opportunity for growth, both personally and within the relationship. Accepting change helps reduce anxiety and fear, replacing them with a calm confidence that you can handle any transformation. With this foundation, we're ready to explore the next Stoic strategy: practicing resilience in moments of crisis, where true emotional strength is tested and can be fortified. Strategy number 8. Practicing resilience in moments of crisis. The 8th Stoic strategy is practicing resilience during moments of crisis. It's easy to maintain calm when things are going well, but adversity truly reveals the depth of our emotional strength. Seneca argued that we should prepare ourselves for challenges, since crises are a natural part of life's journey, and especially of any relationship. In relationships, crises can arise in many forms, such as a serious disagreement, a period of instability, or even an unexpected breakup. Practicing resilience involves staying calm and maintaining perspective during these times, avoiding the urge to be overwhelmed by intense emotions. The Stoics recommended the practice of premeditation, where we imagine potential challenges to be emotionally prepared when they arise. For example, if you face a conflict where you feel wronged or hurt, Stoic resilience helps you avoid reacting impulsively. Instead, you take a deep breath, observe the situation with distance, and choose the best way to respond, with calm and dignity. This emotional control doesn't deny feelings, but ensures that your decisions during a crisis are guided by reason, not by momentary impulses. This practice not only strengthens your inner peace, but also improves how you handle conflicts, allowing you to emerge from them stronger and more balanced. From here, we move to the next Stoic strategy: developing empathy and compassion, which is crucial for creating balanced and authentic relationships. Strategy number 8: practicing resilience in moments of crisis. The 8th Stoic strategy is practicing resilience during moments of crisis. It's easy to maintain calm when things are going well, but adversity truly reveals the depth of our emotional strength. Seneca argued that we should prepare ourselves for challenges, since crises are a natural part of life's journey, and especially of any relationship. In relationships, crises can arise in many forms, such as a serious disagreement, a period of instability, or even an unexpected breakup. Practicing resilience involves staying calm and maintaining perspective during these times, avoiding the urge to be overwhelmed by intense emotions. The Stoics recommended the practice of premeditation, where we imagine potential challenges to be emotionally prepared when they arise. For example, if you face a conflict where you feel wronged or hurt, Stoic resilience helps you avoid reacting impulsively. Instead, you take a deep breath, observe the situation with distance, and choose the best way to respond, with calm and dignity. This emotional control doesn't deny feelings, but ensures that your decisions during a crisis are guided by reason, not by momentary impulses. This practice not only strengthens your inner peace, but also improves how you handle conflicts, allowing you to emerge from them stronger and more balanced. From here, we move to the next Stoic strategy: developing empathy and compassion, which is crucial for creating balanced and authentic relationships. Strategy number 9: developing empathy and Stoic compassion. The 9th strategy for building emotional resilience in relationships is practicing empathy and compassion in a balanced way. For the Stoics, compassion is a virtue that allows us to understand and support others without losing our own emotional stability. Epictetus taught that while we can connect with others' emotions, we shouldn't let them overwhelm us, so we can maintain our inner balance. Stoic empathy is the ability to understand another person's struggles and perspective without directly absorbing their emotions. In a relationship, this approach allows us to be a steady, genuine source of support, able to listen without judgment and to offer advice without imposing. Applying Stoic empathy fosters a stable relationship environment where both partners feel respected and valued. Imagine, for example, that your partner is going through a period of stress at work and, without realizing it, directs some of this tension toward you. Practicing Stoic empathy allows you to see that this reaction isn't personal, but rather a response to external pressures. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can choose to show compassion, offering support and allowing them space to recover. This approach not only strengthens your bond, but also prevents conflicts from escalating. With this steady foundation of compassion and empathy, we're ready to explore the final strategy, daily reflection, a powerful tool for consolidating self-knowledge and resilience over time. Strategy number 10, reflecting daily for personal growth. The 10th and final Stoic strategy for strengthening emotional resilience is the practice of daily reflection. Seneca advised that each of us review our actions and thoughts at the end of each day as a form of self-examination and growth. This practice not only reinforces self-awareness, but also helps us recognize behavioral patterns and identify areas where we can improve. In relationships, daily reflection allows us to review how we reacted, what we said, and to what extent we aligned with the values we wish to embody. It also helps us consider moments of disagreement and ask ourselves if there was anything we could have handled more constructively. Over time, this habit transforms us into more conscious and resilient partners as we become more accountable for our actions and less inclined to react impulsively. For example, if you've had an argument with your partner, taking a few minutes at the end of the day to reflect on the situation can bring valuable insights. Perhaps you realize that your reaction was excessive or that you projected an insecurity onto the conversation. This level of self-awareness helps prevent similar conflicts in the future as you begin to understand what truly affects your emotions. The practice of daily reflection is a commitment to your own growth and the quality of your relationships. It completes this set of Stoic strategies with a powerful tool for consolidating learning and self-control over time, allowing you to strengthen your resilience day by day. To close, remember, in silence we learn, in wisdom we grow.